Greetings, Internet, and welcome back for another episode of Dummy Diaries. So, as you may recall in the last episode, we were working on Archie and Dumbo over here. We got their heads fixed, and we got the outfits all nice and clean, but they're still on hold until I find the rest of their remaining pieces, because, as you all might remember from the last episode, all we've got of these two, aside from the heads, is one of Dumbo's boots and their outfits. And like I said in that episode, it's going to take a bit to try and track down those other pieces. Blah. Anyway, so for today's video, we're going to be taking a look at two icons of a different era. And these ones, well, the only reason why I'm doing two is because these are both fairly simple projects to repair, and one of them is a re-repair of a project that I repaired once before. So I'll just get into that. For today's video, our patients are Howdy Doody, and this guy is basically in good shape. The only problem is that at some point when he was in storage, the person who sold him to me had him in storage, and a mouse decided to nibble on his toes. Otherwise, he's in great shape. So we're going to be sewing up his little problem area there, which the seller cleverly hid with some little bitty doll shoes. So I didn't realize that was an issue until I got him in the mail, and when I took him out of the box, I was like, well, on the one hand, when he and his brother Harold Doody, I know they're Howdy Doody puppets, but I call them different names because I think it's funny. When he and his brother Harold came out of the box, these guys had that same minty cigarette menthol smell that those guys had, and it was potent. Like, I opened up the box, I was like, oh, it was bad. Thankfully, the smell has mostly worn off. I just now caught the faintest whiff of it, so I might actually wind up putting his outfit through the washer and dryer. I don't know. Well, what I'll more than likely probably do is just like stuff his outfit full of dryer sheets and hope for the best. But anyway, that's the main issue with him, is his toes need a little bit of sewing. And his companion on the operating table today is none other than the unfortunately recently deceased Paul Rubens, PeeWee Herman. Because when I first picked up this particular puppet, he was missing the string that comes out of the back of the head. You probably can't really see this too well, but I have since replaced it with a piece of fishing line. And it does the job. You just kind of have to pull pretty hard on it, and his mouth sticks if you pull it open too hard, like that. So what I'm going to be doing today is, with him, I have the proper materials to make him more, what's the word I'm looking for here? To make him more like he was originally when he came out of the box back in 1989. Because how these guys were set up was they basically took, at the Matchbox factory, Matchbox Toys, the little car company, made these PeeWee ventriloquist dolls, as well as the PeeWee Herman talking doll, and they used the same string from the PeeWee talking doll, as well as using the same little white plastic ring they would pull on the back of these ventriloquist dolls. And, well, when I went ahead and I fixed up that Beetlejuice doll, I wound up getting a big thing of that very similar kind of cord that was used to, add the pull string to PeeWee and those kind of figures. And I happened to have an extra pull ring for my very first PeeWee doll, because I've mentioned in the last video how there was a dog that my family had that liked to eat my stuff. He devoured that dang PeeWee doll, and I was only able to save a few pieces from him. The record from the talk box, and this, and a couple other pieces, and the rest of him went the way of the dodo, went to the trash, went to the landfill. Anyway, so like I said, I've got this, and I've got the cord. So here we go, folks. 3, 2, 1, now. So as you can see, we're going to start off with PeeWee, because surprisingly of the two, this one is probably going to be the easier of the two, depending on how hard it is to get the fishing line off the little rod on the back of his jaw. Because, if I'm remembering correctly, I could be wrong, but I don't think I ever actually glued the mouthpiece back on. So, just gotta go ahead and get a good grip on it. Yep. Alright, now just wiggle that vinyl. Should be a fairly straightforward fix on him, as it was originally. If I can just get that jaw out of there. Come on, PeeWee, give it up. There we go. Okay. See? Alright, so now we put that over here. Just take these long boys. Come on now. There it is. Alright. Just gotta undo this fishing line. That works. Alright. Now, as you can see, or at least as I think you should be able to see, as I was saying initially, try and get a good angle on it. Alright, you see this string down here? This is what remains of the original cord that was stuck, attached, it was tied to the back of this peg right here. Sorry folks, I just cannot talk and I get myself so upset when I can't do that. So what we're going to need to do, I don't think I'll have to remove the original cord there, because if I'm seeing correctly they glued it in place, which they did. What I need to do is just tie on a new piece of cord and then string that back through the back of the head like the fishing line was. And for anyone who wants to do a repair on the PeeWee doll here, there is a video on this channel. I will put a little title card thing to it, like right over here, where I did the original repair on him, and then, well, now I'm making him imitate what I'm saying, because I am a weird human being. Ha 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 ha. Alright, so the cord for this, according to this little chart here on the back of the packaging, thank goodness I saved that, is 1mm beading cord? Nylon cord. 1mm nylon cord is what you're going to need to fix this guy. As well as, if you can find one of these pull rings. And if you can't, I guess you could probably use a key ring if you're so inclined. Anyway, enough of my nonsense. I just realized I don't have scissors to cut this, but I do have my wire cutters. These will do the job splendidly. Alright. So for this job, I'm not sure exactly how much of this I'm going to need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread some through the back of PeeWee's neck, which I just realized he's out of camera when I have him sitting upright. So we'll just pull him down like this. Let's go ahead and thread that through the back of his neck, like so. And then, using those needle nose pliers, reach in and grab it. Oh, why can't I grab it? Come on now. There it is. Alright, so we're going to need just enough that we can tie it off on this peg right here, while leaving about this much hanging down his back, because for whatever reason the people at Matchbox Toys decided that the PeeWee ventriloquist doll would have the string hanging down only that far down his back. Like so. Alright, so I'm going to cut it about, give myself a little more room for working on it from the front. And we'll cut off about that much right there. Now, first things first, I'm just going to try hooking it onto the pin first, tying it, that is, and then I'll worry about putting it through the back of his head. Okay, so we do like this. Of course, the string is trying to travel back into his head. PeeWee, do you want to be fixed or don't you? Well, do you want to be fixed properly or don't you? There we are. Just undid everything I was just trying to do. There we go. Tie it once, and then tie it a second time. Get that as tight as it can go, and now thread that thread through the back of his head, hopefully without too much difficulty. And come on, got it. Ta-da! Let me try that with him facing the camera. Ta-da! Alright. Then we just pop his mouthpiece back in. There we go. Easy as you please. Alright, and then to finish off this little repair, all we have to do is, if you happen to have one of these original pull rings, just tie it on like this. Then didn't quite get as tight as I wanted it to, so we're going to employ the pliers. There we are. And then we do the second knot. Use the pliers again. As tight as humanly possible without breaking the string, and ta-da! All fixed and ready to go, boss. Now, on to PeeWee's little friend, Howard. I think it's Howard Doody. I keep getting the names mixed up. Alright, so like I said, with Harold over here. No, this one's Howard. The other one's Harold. Whatever. If you guys want to know what I'm talking about with the weird names, I'll post a link right up here with the video in which I have these two I believe the video is Bloody Doody. And yes, it's a funny name. The video is supposed to be funny. Anywho, so with him, all we have to do is sew up those toes. So all we need are some sewing essentials. We need a needle and some black thread. So I've got some needles and some black thread. Now, the next step is we take our threaded needle, like so. We get the end of the thread, like this, line it up with its adjoining end piece, get it all even. And there are several ways you can do this next bit, because we want to tie a knot in the end here so it doesn't just go right back through the fabric. What I like to do is literally just grab the end like this and just tie a normal knot. Only what I'll do is I will take the thread, the end of the thread right here, and I will loop it through like 3 or 4 times to make sure I get a decent sized knot that will not just go right back through the fabric. Because if the knot's too small, it is quite possible that while you're tugging to try and tighten up the rest of the thread, it'll just go bing and come right through. See? Like that. And one thing that I've done for the longest time when it comes to sewing repairs is this one technique that, kind of funny enough, I picked up from Toy Story 2. Y'all know the scene where Woody's getting repaired and the repair guy takes the needle and goes from the inside of the seam, and he just kind of works his way out from there. That's what I usually do. So I will start from inside this side. And then over to this side. Thinking on it now, I might have too little thread. But we'll find that out here eventually. It's almost like Howdy suffered a little bit of gangrene at some point. But it could have been a heck of a lot worse. Let's go ahead and put one more stitch in there. And now we cut the thread. Give the thread bobbin a poke this time. And that way we don't lose the needle. And then everybody's favorite part, tying that knot again. Whoopee! One fairly easy way of tying a knot in thread is to take one end of the thread, put it through the loop like this, and then you'll just kind of roll your fingers together. And if you're wanting to get the thread through there multiple times, like you're doing a multiple knot, then that is the easiest way to do it. although I don't think it took that time because it looked awfully small. I'm going to do a triple knot on this one and then cut it with the threads being a little bit long, just to be on the safe side in case I need to go back in and knot it again at some point. Because I was so focused on showing y'all how to do that, well, I messed it up. There we are. And we'll do the little snip snip. And let's go ahead and get his other shoe off so you can see the final result compared to the original foot. Okay, so here's how his original foot looks, or his other foot looks that didn't get all damaged. And here's what his other foot looks like now that it has been repaired. Side by side, you can definitely tell which one was repaired, but it's not as bad as you would expect it would be, considering how much damage there was. And like I said, now his shoe fits on better, because with all that damage to his foot initially, that shoe would fall off like every time I'd go to pick him up. But now, both those shoes are staying on there fairly firmly. Of course, it makes a liar out of me. But you get the idea, folks. So now that Howdy's foot has been repaired, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Well now, that's 4 puppets taken care of. And there's still a bunch more to go, so be sure to stay tuned, folks, because, well, the ride's not over yet. Isn't that right, fellas? What, you're saying the ride's over? Exactly. Anyway, folks, on behalf of Harold, PeeWee, Archie, Dumbo, and myself, we will see you all in the next one. Later. Wow. That was terrible.